In the next several weeks leading up to the release of Avengers Endgame, the conclusion of the Infinity Stone and Infinity Gauntlet storyline within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least what we've known of it up until now, I will be reviewing each of the main storylines within the Infinity Saga, featuring Thanos and the Infinity Gems found within Marvel Comics, starting with Thanos Quest, then the Infinity Gauntlet from 1991, Infinity War from 1992, and finally the Infinity Crusade from 1993, starting with today's review, the Thanos Quest, written by Jim Starlin and illustrated by Ron Lim. As its title suggests, this two-issue story depicts the beginning of a quest, or spiritual journey if you will, of its title character Thanos, the Mad Titan. Thanos Quest would lay the groundwork and light the fuse for what would become one of Marvel's biggest crossover events of the 1990s. We all know Thanos now due to his various appearances in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, played by Josh Brolin. After his depiction in last year's Avengers Infinity War, Thanos has arguably become the greatest villain the franchise has produced in its 10-year history. It will be difficult for Marvel and Disney to surpass his level of quality in the near future. But back in the mid to late 1970s when this character was first introduced, he wasn't that big of a deal, all things considered. Compared to other supervillains Marvel offered up at the time, Thanos was fairly mediocre and only appeared once throughout the 1980s. However, he was revived in the early 1990s among the pages of Silver Surfer Volume 3, number 34, by Mistress Death, Marvel's physical embodiment of death, who feels the universe is out of balance and asks for Thanos' services to fix it. In the following issue, Thanos explains the great imbalance to the Surfer. He goes on about life and death and how they both need the other in order to exist. The scientific breakthroughs of planet Earth, for example, have increased the average lifespan, that the world is becoming overpopulated, humans are polluting their planet and burying themselves in waste, life has become a ticking time bomb, and destruction is inevitable. And it's not just Earth. Thanos explains that this is happening everywhere across the universe. It might be different circumstances leading up to it, but the result is always the same, self-destruction. He has returned because Mistress Death wants him to solve this great imbalance, and solve it he will. His plan is to end the lives of 50% of the universe's population, and with that, he begins his quest, the Thanos Quest. Part 1 is titled Schemes and Dreams. Thanos is seen gazing into Mistress Death's Infinity Well, a cosmic vortex that houses universal knowledge. Mistress Death calls to him and wonders what knowledge Thanos has found to aid him in his task. He tells her that due to the likely interference he will receive while trying to accomplish it, he needs to augment his powers even further. He tells her about the Soul Gems, also known as the Infinity Stones in the MCU, that he had attempted to use before to destroy all the stars in his galaxy, but now he understands all their hidden secrets. She accepts his offer to use them to reach his goal, and Thanos sets off to acquire all 6. As he travels to the first gem in the possession of the In-Betweener, he explains that he fears nothing except failing the one he cherishes. If you don't know this by now, Thanos is deeply in love with Mistress Death, because he admires death itself. He is a nihilist in every sense of the word. It's the whole reason he's going to these lengths to please her. Anyways, Thanos arrives at the nexus of reality, the center point of existence where chaos and order meet. It is here that the In-Betweener is being held captive. Thanos agrees to free the In-Betweener. In return, he wants his gratitude, though in reality it's the green soul gem Thanos wants from him, embedded nicely in his forehead. Weakened by the Nexus, Thanos easily overpowers the In-Betweener because chaos and order have no influence over him, and he acquires the gem. Thanos leaves the In-Betweener to be punished by Lord Chaos and Master Order. With the Soul Gem, the owner of it can manipulate the will of anyone they desire. Next up is the Red Power Gem, currently in the possession of Champion on the planet Tamarata. Despite the warrior's natural strength augmented by the gem, he is still no match for Thanos' fighting ability and technique. Thanos toys with him, making him feel like he has an advantage or an opening, and then, wham! down goes champion. Thanos finds the warrior to be too predictable, explaining that power is nothing without a solid mind to back it up. Champion's unchecked anger and force begins to rip the planet apart, something Thanos saw coming, knowing what the power gem is capable of. With the champion of the universe stranded out in space, he begs Thanos to transport him to another planet, for which Thanos agrees, as long as Champion gives him the power gem. He does, and Thanos carries him to another planet and lets him go. Happy landings. With 2 of the 6 soul gems in his possession, Thanos will need both to acquire number 3, the time gem, currently wielded by a former Elder of the Universe known as the Gardener. Thanos meets with him in his garden, and Gardener knows why he is there, no need to bullshit. Gardener attacks his foe with plants, but Thanos easily breaks free. The Mad Titan understands why Gardener wants to keep his gem, to rapidly speed up and freeze time in order to create beautiful plants for his garden. Thanos understands the love he has for them, much like his own love for Mistress Death. With that said, Thanos must still take it. While Gardener's vines grew, Thanos used his power gem to increase the abilities of the time gem, thus turning it against its bearer. Though he feels some level of sadness for what he was forced to do, the quest must continue. There are still 3 more soul gems out there, somewhere in the galaxy to collect. Part 2 is entitled Games and Prizes. The next being standing between Thanos and his ultimate goal is the Collector. The Elder has been monitoring Thanos since his battle with Champion, and much like Gardener, knows that he wants the Soul Gem, which Thanos now has chosen to call Infinity Gems. The Mad Titan tells Collector that he will soon come into possession of a rarer object than the Infinity Gem, something Collector will be willing to part with in order to obtain. Thanos tells him he will contact him soon on the matter. He then waits and waits, preparing for the Collector to use the power of his gem against him. But no, nothing happens. All is good. The Elder doesn't realize its true power. In the meantime, Thanos travels to the coordinates of the Runner, in possession of the next gem. The being takes him off guard though, and destroys his favorite chair. Thanos tries to sweet-talk him, but Runner explains that the Grandmaster warned him of his arrival. With the power of the purple space gem, he can travel faster than the speed of light. It seems that Thanos has met his match. Runner forces Thanos to tell him why these gems are so important, to which he does. They are all reincarnated pieces of a once single entity that existed before space and time. It was infinity and forever, as close to God as they come. As he talks, he explains that Runner has left himself wide open for Thanos to use the power of another infinity gem, the time gem. He ages Runner by over 1,000,000 years before taking the space gem from the virtually immortal being and turning him back into a baby. He then takes him with him back to the Collector. Yup, you know what's coming. Thanos offers the Collector the chance of having an infant Elder in his collection, a rare item he is willing to trade for the yellow reality gem. The Collector accepts, as long as Thanos doesn't interfere with his existence. He agrees. Thanos then explains the true nature of the reality gem to the Collector, and offers him a demonstration. Terrified, he wants it taken away from his museum at once. As Thanos leaves, he reveals that the time gem's effect is only temporary. Collector has been duped. The final Infinity Gem is in the possession of the Grandmaster, the Blue Mind Gem. It will be Thanos' greatest challenge. Grandmaster has honed his senses in every game of chance and skill ever created. It won't be easy. The Elder tells Thanos that this game will force him to match wits with him. If he tries to take the Infinity Gem before it's completed, the gem is set to continuously jump from one random destination in the universe to another, becoming impossible to track. It will also self-destruct once the task is completed. If Grandmaster loses, the transporter will shut off, thus allowing Thanos to grab the gem. If his vital signs are interrupted, the device will activate as well. They will be playing a game on the mental plane of existence, a quasi-military exercise. Thanos wagers his 5 infinity gems if he loses. They put on their headsets, and with their star chips up for grabs, the shadow game begins. The reality of this mental world has its own set of rules, and Thanos realizes that this isn't just a game of win or lose, but one of life or death. Grandmaster strikes first, and appears to have the upper hand, but Thanos hides himself within one of the constructs. He is able to take Grandmaster off guard, and deliver the kill shot. Checkmate. However, Grandmaster cheated, sabotaging Thanos' weapons before the battle to use against him. He reveals that he let Thanos acquire the other gems from his fellow elders, so he wouldn't have to. He can obtain them all now with ease. It was a robot though, and the real Thanos is still outside the game, who destroys it, along with Grandmaster's mind as well. Thanos acquires the Mind Gem, and much like his other foes, Grandmaster didn't know the right way to use it, which caused his downfall. With all the Infinity Gems now in his possession, the universe is his for the taking. Nothing can stand in his way. Thanos returns to Mistress Death and begs for her love and admiration. He sits beside her as her equal, her lover. However, she still does not speak to him directly because he is now her superior, something that upsets Thanos. He returns to the Infinity Well, believing he has miscalculated himself. No sentient could ever dream or hope for more than I have accomplished. Who could have guessed that becoming God would prove to be such a hollow victory? So that's Thanos Quest. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Thanos as a character wasn't that big of a deal when he first debuted. It wasn't until he was reintroduced in the early 1990s that the character became more fleshed out and interesting as a villain. Thanos Quest was a way for the writers to test the waters with this newly refurbished character, and really sell you on the idea that he could be this larger-than-life, main event-level villain, big enough to take on the entire Marvel Universe, and I think it worked. What I love so much about this storyline is how it focuses on Thanos himself. We get to see everything from his perspective and firmly understand his motivations. We see how clever, calculating, and manipulative he can be, outwitting each and every one of the gem bearers to grow in power. A lot of people say the MCU is entirely responsible for Thanos' recent mainstream appeal, and for the most part that's true, but even if the MCU didn't exist, I would still argue that this character is one of the most underrated Marvel villains ever written. This version of him they reintroduced for this Infinity Gem storyline is nothing short of brilliant. He's clever, charming, can be funny at times in a twisted way, and even speaks to those that oppose him with a certain level of respect, understanding, and dignity, which is admirable, especially coming from a villain. He's also a sympathetic character to a certain extent, willing to do anything for love. Who can't get behind that? At the end, he realizes that being all-powerful has its own set of issues. After death denied him affection, he feels sort of lonely. It was something he foreshadowed when he told the story of the Infinity Gems and the godlike entity they used to be. He says that because it was already made up of everything, it had nothing, or more specifically, no one. That's why Thanos believes it put an end to its own existence. Interesting thing to keep in mind. I enjoy this storyline and recommend anyone pick it up. It's great. Thanos Quest was just the beginning though. There was an even bigger event on the horizon. Thanos was just getting started. Coming off Thanos Quest, the Mad Titan was now in possession of all 6 Infinity Gems, giving him complete dominion over all known aspects of the universe. His plan is to use their power to wipe out half of all life in the universe to gain favor with his true love, Mistress Death. In Silver Surfer Volume 3, number 44, Thanos returns with his newly acquired abilities to destroy the Surfer once and for all. He views him as a potential threat that might try to plot against him and undo everything he has done thus far. He confronts Silver Surfer and Drax the Destroyer, and gives them a taste of his abilities. He freezes Drax with the Time Gem, teleports and creates duplicates of himself with the Space Gem, influences the mind of Drax to attack Surfer with the Soul Gem, and warps reality with the Reality Gem. He has both heroes literally in the palm of his hands. He finishes them off by trapping both their souls within the Soul Gem. The heroes wake up in Soul World, where they meet Adam Warlock, a powerful artificial being created on Earth by a group of scientists named the Enclave. He rebelled against his creators, though, and traveled the cosmos, where he met the entity known as the High Evolutionary, who gave him the Soul Gem to wield for a time. Using his powers, Warlock returns both Drax and the Silver Surfer to their bodies, so long as they help him in stopping Thanos. Surfer then uses this time to fly to Earth and hopefully warn the Avengers before it's too late. While this is happening, Mephisto offers to train Thanos in his new powers, becoming his slave and servant in the process. In actuality, he realizes the power of the Infinity Gems and wants them for himself. Thanos is one step ahead of him, though, and expects his new servant's loyalty to be fickle. Now that most of the preceding events and lead-up have been explained, we should be up to speed and ready to take on the Infinity Gauntlet, the storyline that put Thanos on the map, and has been influential enough to have an entire cinematic shared universe based around it. Let's begin. As Doctor Strange enjoys a late dinner within his Sanctum Sanctorum, he and Wong hear a crash, and find a weakened Silver Surfer in their study. He tells them that Thanos is coming, and that he brings with him the end of the universe. He goes on to explain that Thanos has been resurrected and strengthened by Mistress Death, and that she has tasked him to wipe out half of all life in the universe. He had gathered all the immensely powerful Infinity Gems from some of the strongest beings across the galaxy, giving him mastery over all aspects of existence. Thanos has become omnipotent, a god, the strongest force in the universe. Thanos and Mephisto arrive at the Hall of Death, where the Mad Titan asks his love if she has forgiven him for acquiring the Infinity Gems and becoming stronger than her. She gives him the cold shoulder and walks away. Thanos pleads his case, though, and tells her that he only used the power she gave him to acquire the Infinity Gems, so he could be better suited for her. She deserves the best. Her servant tells Thanos that the Mad Titan is now her superior, and his love has become her bondage. Thanos responds by saying he worships her, and even creates a massive shrine to express his love. Thanos offers that she sit beside him and rule over the universe as his queen, but she still refuses to acknowledge his admiration. Thanos materializes Nebula, a space pirate who claimed to be his granddaughter. He shows Mistress Death the grisly state he has left her in, between life and death. Her very existence embodies the glorious promise of death, but still, his love rejects him. Furious, he blows up Mistress Death's servant. Thanos comes to the realization, though, that he has been so preoccupied with courting death and wielding his newfound power that he has not accomplished the task she asked of him in the first place. Once he does, there is no reason for her to deny his love. Thanos walks to the edge of his death shrine, raises his left arm, and proceeds to snap his fingers. While patrolling at night, Spider-Man notices half the people in Times Square have vanished. At Avengers HQ, Captain America sees Hawkeye and Cersei vanish from existence. Nick Fury, commander of S.H.I.E.L.D., is getting calls from all over the world and realizes that half the human race has vanished. It's not just humans either, but all life forms on the planet have been affected. Wong disappears, and the Silver Surfer has sensed this great loss all across the universe. There can only be one being responsible: Thanos. As the Earth's heroes try to pick up the pieces of this great disappearance, Doctor Strange is contacted by Adam Warlock, who tells him to gather the champions of Earth to be led under him. It's the only way they can stop Thanos. Eros of Titan, also known as Star Fox, Thanos' brother, realizes that he is responsible. Before he can do anything, he disappears, transported and bound by his monstrous brother for a family reunion, so to speak. Star Fox tries to use his emotion-manipulating powers on Thanos, but his mouth is removed as punishment. Adam Warlock appears before Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer, as well as Doctor Doom, who had confronted the Surfer, wanting to know what has happened to his people of Latveria. Warlock suggests that he himself must lead everyone in the fight against Thanos, seeing as he knows the secrets of the Infinity Gems. Doctor Doom refuses. Thanos attempts to impress Death once again, improvising with Nebula and arrows, but still nothing. Angered, the Mad Titan unleashes his power, which destroys nearby stars and planets. Galactus watches. One of those was going to be his next meal. God damn it. I guess it's McDonald's yet again tonight. Warlock, Strange, Surfer, and Doom transport themselves to Avengers HQ to summon an army. Warlock uses his powers to contact Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Drax the Destroyer, Namor the Submariner, Nova, and many more, who all agree to join the fight. Even the Hulk comes to the aid, despite initially refusing. As the team think up a strategy, Dr. Doom suggests that he should be the new leader, to which Captain America forces him to stand down. Without Warlock, Latveria is toast, and Doom knows it. Warlock and Silver Surfer meet with the astral deities of the universe to ask for their assistance. Eternity, the Living Tribunal, and the Watcher refuse to help. Galactus is also reluctant, and after being insulted by Warlock, proceeds to blast him out of existence. Warlock survives, however, and Lord Chaos and Master Order agree to side with Earth's perfect being. The rest of the entities agree to fight, leaving only Galactus as the sourpuss. Thanos senses that his enemies are planning an attack. He asks Mistress Death to stand by his side, but she denies him. So, he decides to use the power of his Infinity Gems to create a perfect lover for himself, named Taraxia, that will actually show affection for him. It's the classic jealousy move, but you can tell Thanos really wants Death by his side. His plan didn't really work. Doctor Strange activates a portal leading to Thanos for all the heroes to take. He has also casted a spell that will allow everyone to breathe in space for 60 minutes. If anyone needs to be evacuated due to injury, he will use his powers to teleport them away as well. Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer stand back, a light year away from Thanos' location as the other heroes go in for their assault. Warlock reveals that they are merely sacrificial lambs. They had lost the battle before it even begun. Namor, Firelord, Thor, and Iron Man home in on Thanos. They fire every bit of energy they have at him, but with a snap of his fingers, the Mad Titan stops them in their tracks, along with all the other heroes, with the Time Gem. Wanting to be rid of Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer, two beings capable of thwarting him, Thanos intends to destroy them without giving it another thought. However, Mephisto explains that if he gives the heroes a slight chance of victory, it may impress Mistress Death, seeing her love battle with such courage. He agrees by cutting himself off from his senses related to space, time, mind, soul, and reality, leaving only power. Excited to prove himself to Mistress Death, Thanos snaps his fingers and resumes time. Let the battle begin. Drax and Hulk get a cheap shot on Thanos, but the Titan launches Drax away. He also grows in size to fight the Hulk. Thor's hammer makes contact with Thanos' gut and downs him, with Dr. Doom looking to take the Infinity Gauntlet for himself, but he eats a serving of Thanos' raw power as punishment. Wolverine lunges at Thanos, but his adamantium skeleton is turned to rubber. Cyclops uses his optic blasts, but his head is encased in a clear block, cutting off his oxygen. Thanos kills Vision by ripping out his internal wiring. Cloak sucks Thanos into his Dark Force dimension, but the Mad Titan makes him explode. It seems that nothing can topple the godlike being that is Thanos. Thor tries to finish what he started, but the Infinite One turns him into a statue. In retaliation, Nova delivers a punch, but is transformed into simple toy blocks. Every hero that has attempted to attack Thanos has been met with severe injury, or worse. Captain America appears. Why he was just watching all this time beats me, but he confronts Thanos because, America. The Mad Titan attacks the Super Soldier and breaks his trusty shield into tiny little pieces. Before he can make the killing blow, Silver Surfer races in with the hopes of grabbing the gauntlet. He misses, and Thanos returns himself to full power. With no hope in sight, Adam Warlock calls for the cosmic entities, who arrive in an attempt to stop this madness. They all begin fighting, and their combined power begins ripping the very fabric of reality apart. Warlock and Silver Surfer manage to hold on, and the lives of Eros and Nebula are spared by Mistress Death. She must not be that fond of Thanos right now. Despite all the power displayed, Thanos still remains. Lord Chaos and Master Order attempt to tear Thanos apart, but even that is futile. Mephisto turns on Thanos and tries to retrieve the gauntlet for himself. Before Thanos can kill him, Mistress Death appears to stop him, breaking Thanos' heart. The Mad Titan ends all the fighting by turning the cosmic entities into frozen trophies to be displayed at his death shrine. Eternity, essentially the leader of all the cosmic entities, finally appears to reclaim all that makes up reality. Thanos refuses to give up his power and lunges at the cosmic being. Though Eternity is immensely powerful, even he falls to the mighty Thanos, becoming a trophy as well. Thanos has taken Eternity's place and has become the center of all existence. However, Thanos' physical body is left a lifeless husk, allowing for the corpse-like Nebula, weakened by Thanos' power, to snatch the Infinity Gauntlet and claim it for herself, returning Thanos' essence back into his body in the process. She heals herself and seeks revenge on her grandfather. She strands Thanos and Taraxia out in the far reaches of space, though Taraxia dies because she can't breathe without the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos is brought to Earth, though, by Doctor Strange via portal. They must all work together to save what's left of the universe. The Infinity Gauntlet in the hands of Nebula is even more dangerous than when it was with Thanos. She cannot comprehend the power it holds. Adam Warlock speaks with Thanos, asking for his help in defeating his granddaughter. He tells him that while Thanos possessed the Soul Gem, Warlock was a part of it. He was able to access the inner heart of Thanos and knows him better than he knows himself. Warlock reveals to Thanos, and us, the audience, that though the Mad Titan has acquired limitless power countless times throughout his journeys, deep down he feels he doesn't deserve it, and allows himself to lose time and time again. At first, Thanos wants to deny it, but he can't. He gives in to the accusations and agrees to help. The heroes, alongside Thanos, confront Nebula for one final assault. The fate of the universe hangs in the balance. Nebula confines Thanos in a stone prison, and after some verbal abuse from her grandfather, telling her that she doesn't deserve the power of the Infinity Gems, she uses them to undo everything the Mad Titan had accomplished in the last 24 hours, resurrecting half the universe in the process. She also fails to realize that she herself would be affected by it too, though Nebula reacts fast enough to stop Thanos from acquiring the gauntlet yet again, but maybe that might not have been such a bad idea, because the cosmic entities are back as well. With Nebula's infinite power, they are still no match for her abilities. She turns each one of them into stone. While this is happening, Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer go to the Soul World, where Warlock's powers are stronger. He uses the Surfer as a spiritual anchor, and with Nebula's inexperience providing him with an advantage, he communicates through the Soul Gem to the other five, and sabotages the combined power of the Infinity Gauntlet. Before Thanos can grab it again, the heroes stop him, and Adam Warlock is the one who reaches it first. With the strongest force of the universe now in his possession, no one dare argue that fact. Warlock promises to use the gauntlet's powers wisely, and before he can be captured, Thanos activates an explosive device, preferring death over imprisonment. Thor throws his hammer at the Mad Titan though, launching him into space, and the device activates, seemingly killing the villain. As the other heroes leave, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, and Thor remain. They tell Warlock that the power of the Infinity Gauntlet could corrupt him. They can't entirely trust him with it as a result. Regardless, there is nothing more left to say, and he transports them back to Earth. Warlock and his allies travel 60 days into the future on an unnamed planet where they meet Thanos, who has been living as a hermit. He gives Adam Warlock a piece of advice: to endure the power of the Infinity Gauntlet or to surrender it. It's his choice to make. Thanos, on the other hand, has chosen to live a quiet life, to reflect on the lessons of the past. Without all that power and responsibility, he believes he got the better end of the deal. Despite only being 6 issues long, there was a lot to this storyline. I think the strength of the Infinity Gauntlet lies within its concept. From an idea perspective, it's one of the more ingenious in the entire comic book medium, in my opinion, matched only by that of the emotional spectrum and the various Lantern Corps from DC. I think it does a great job in explaining the Infinity Gauntlet's power, for the most part, and that everyone, both hero and villain, have an unquenchable thirst for its possession. Unfortunately, the Infinity Gauntlet does have its fair share of problems. I think this story, and more specifically its writing, could have been better. It's not that great, especially in comparison to Thanos Quest, for example. Everything to do with the Mad Titan and Mistress Death is amazing. I love that stuff, but I think everything else is sort of a mixed bag. Out of the 6 issues, there is probably 1 issue worth of content that could have been cut out entirely. It feels like there is quite a bit of filler. For instance, I get that the entire planet is suffering from the Great Disappearance, but seeing the same information relayed to us over and over again seems kind of unnecessary. It doesn't add anything new to the narrative, and is a complete waste of time. It happens far too frequently for the first half of this storyline, and can become rather bothersome. It doesn't affect the story in any way. The pacing is out of whack at times because of it. Though the action is exciting throughout the storyline and keeps you invested, the battle with Thanos and banded together Marvel heroes and villains is a sight to behold. Even that suffers from obvious issues. For one, Mephisto convinces Thanos to give the heroes a fighting chance, which means the writers had to weaken Thanos in some way in order for this first battle to happen. It would have been over much quicker had they not, and this storyline relies on that battle as its centerpiece, which is sort of a weakness. Without it, we would have been left with just Thanos fighting the cosmic entities, and the final confrontation with Nebula at the end, not enough to make this whole thing satisfying. Another thing that could be viewed as a weakness of this storyline is that it gets a bit far-fetched at times, pushing the limits of its ideas and visuals to the absolute limit. The writers and artists were very ambitious, I give them that, but some of these concepts are a bit problematic to wrap one's head around. As an audience, it becomes hard to follow at certain points. The Infinity Gauntlet allows its possessor full control over all reality and existence. That's not something you can easily put into a visual form. I mean, hell, even the people behind the comic couldn't do it at times. When something is beyond description, it means they don't know how to explain it, or rather don't want to. And this is what the live-action Infinity War film did much better than the comic ever could. It stresses the notion that once Thanos has the gauntlet, he can snap his fingers and wipe out half of all life in the universe. That's the end goal, the final result. When you have the snap happen at the beginning of the story, it puts you in a much more difficult position. You have to rely on the destruction of the entire universe being the end result at that point. That's the only other higher climactic event you can do that makes any sense. Because of the strong opposing factors Thanos has to go up against to accomplish that, the entities of the universe, he has to become one with reality and all existence by the end. It can get overly complicated when it doesn't need to be, and the cosmic universe you have created within your brand is now your storytelling crutch in a way. With that said, the MCU Thanos still possesses all the abilities the comic book one does when you really think about it. However, the film doesn't focus on that. It focuses on the snap, and the snap alone. That's what Thanos truly wants. It stays much more focused and doesn't get overly complicated. Now, does that mean I think the MCU version of Thanos is better than the comic book one? Absolutely not. The comics explain his love for Mistress Death as a motivating factor on top of wanting to create balance in the universe. He also feels that he doesn't deserve this power deep down and wants to lose as a result, though I feel this could be something brought up in Endgame due to his guilt over Gamora's death. I just feel from a storytelling perspective, with pacing, focus, and not too much convolution, that the movie is better. I love the comic, but its action and concept are not enough to outweigh its weaknesses. I'm sorry. Despite everything I've said though, I still enjoy the Infinity Gauntlet. It's a great crossover, and far from terrible. It was the storyline that really put the character of Thanos on the map, and it's going to be his legacy for decades to come. I think as a crossover, it does what it set out to do, though, unlike some other ones I've read over the years, this one relies too much on the audience's familiarity with some of its characters. You're going to feel lost at times when they bring up events from past storylines and characters you've never read about up until now. Contrary to popular belief, this isn't the case with all crossover stories. A good writer is able to balance all the characters effectively and discuss what needs to be focused on within their given story, nothing more, nothing less. Here, I feel it draws from outside sources a bit too much, which leaves it feeling unfocused, confusing, and unnecessarily complex at times, which is unfortunate. At the end of the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos' granddaughter Nebula was defeated, and the Mad Titan decided to live life as a quiet hermit on a distant planet, free from his past responsibilities, reflecting on his decisions, and no longer with a thirst for power. Adam Warlock was the new possessor of the Infinity Gauntlet and its gems, promising to use their abilities wisely, though the heroes were skeptical, mainly Doctor Strange. In Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme number 36, Warlock's allies take Strange to him because they are worried for their friend. The power of the Infinity Gems already seemed to be having an effect on him. Warlock explains his intentions to remove all ambition and competitiveness from the universe, forcing everyone to be good and noble. Doctor Strange warns him not to interfere with the balance of good and evil. The universe only functions with both. It will also mean the freedom of choice will be removed, turning every creature simple-minded. Strange casts a spell which causes the Soul Gem to show Warlock this truth, and he agrees to discontinue his current path. He must be more careful with the power of a god. And then, in Warlock and the Infinity Watch number 1, Eternity, the Living Tribunal, and the other cosmic entities summon Adam Warlock. They deem him unfit to wield the power of the Infinity Gems, make it so they cannot be used in tandem with one another ever again, a power they seem to have all of a sudden, and Warlock agrees to give them up, separating each one and giving them to the protectors of his choosing. He decides to pick his closest allies, Pip the Troll, Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, Moondragon, and himself, to form the Infinity Watch. The sixth and final gem, the Reality Gem, is given to a secret caretaker known only by him. The Mad Titan Thanos even joins in to aid them. The Infinity Watch series follows the title group as they prevent other beings from obtaining the Infinity Gems. One more thing I need to explain before diving into today's storyline is the character of Magus. He's the older and eviler version of Adam Warlock's soul from an alternate future that wants to ensure Warlock becomes him down the road and attempts to organize those series of events in his life. He would be stopped by Warlock and Thanos, who erased his timeline from existence, but just because they won the battle does not mean they won the war. We begin Infinity War on the unnamed planet at Thanos' quiet little farm. He has distanced himself from who he was before. The Mad Titan is being haunted by ghosts in a sense, his evil doppelganger, remnants of his past. The various computers in his farmhouse pick up readings that indicate the universe is in peril. He switches clothes and boards a newly reconstructed space throne, and sets off to investigate. Galactus finds Eternity in a catatonic state, and intends to find the being responsible. Thanos arrives and finds Eternity as well. The energy signature left by the culprit is somehow familiar. Thanos reaches the source of his readings within a massive construct deep in space that reminds him of the shrine he built to Mistress Death. The readings are immense, just short of the Infinity Gauntlets, and are coming from the rectangular module sprouting out of the building's ceiling. On Earth, Dr. Doom's scanners pick up the energy as well, and he is not frightened by it one bit. He simply views it as an opportunity. Wherever there is power to be gained. As Thanos investigates the energy source, a mysterious figure enters the room behind him. It's Magus, along with an evil version of Thanos, promising that the doppelganger is only a taste of what's coming. Magus explains that many paths lead to grandeur. There are endless possibilities that can create variations of the future. Thanos asks him about the source of the energy within the capsule. It's eerily familiar, though Magus dodges the question. He wants revenge and seeks ultimate power. Thanos wishes to protect reality, something he once sought to destroy. His priorities have changed. The insatiable hunger Magus seeks will never be fully fulfilled. Realizing that reasoning with Magus is futile, he pours out his wine and prepares to fight. Before he can, though, Magus introduces Thanos to his army of evil doppelgangers, based off countless heroes and villains in the Marvel Universe. He tells the Mad Titan to warn his alter ego, and as he laughs maniacally, transports Thanos back to his space throne, scrambling the energy signature and location of his base with magic in the process, so the Titan can no longer trace it. Left with even more questions than before, Thanos realizes he must find help if he is to stop Magus's schemes. Doctor Doom speaks with a mysterious figure to aid him in his search for this power. It's revealed as Kang the Conqueror, though Kang intends to sever his partnership with Doom should the opportunity present itself, and vice versa. Earlier in the storyline, we had cut to Iron Man being attacked by his doppelganger and losing. Wolverine was as well, but managed to claim victory. Mr. Fantastic picked up energy signatures, but was flanked by his evil twin. One of them grabbed a blaster and incapacitated the other, but you don't know which one. Mr. Fantastic calls a meeting with all the Marvel heroes he could muster, and Thanos arrives at Monster Island, where Adam Warlock and the rest of the Infinity Watch are located. Moondragon suggests that they contact the Avengers, but after the Infinity Gauntlet fiasco, they don't trust Thanos, or Warlock for that matter. They need to figure out what Magus's end goal is, so Thanos demands that Pip transport them to Mistress Death's palace with his space gem, so they can find the answer. Magus and the evil version of Thanos have been watching all along though, and their enemies are playing into their hands. Doom and Kang reach a source of fluctuating energy and notice Galactus's ship in the distance. The Devourer of Worlds has teamed with Doctor Strange, Nova, and Silver Surfer to search it out as well. They reach it and it contains immense mystical power. Galactus intends to use his ship's scanners to find out where all of it is really coming from. Kang and Doom activate a trace beam and will follow them to the location. The Infinity Watch arrive at Mistress Death's palace, where they knock out her guard and enter the Infinity Well chamber, hoping to learn the unknown mysteries of Magus and his plan. The Well walks us through everything we already know in regards to who Magus is, an evil, alternate version of Adam Warlock from the future, who started the Universal Church of Truth and was worshipped as a god. After defeating Thanos, Warlock relinquished the power of the Infinity Gauntlet and created the Infinity Watch. While he was omnipotent though, in an attempt to obtain pure logic and neutrality, Warlock expelled the good and evil within himself. Magus was recreated at the crossroads of reality and explored 5 of these separate realities or realms to acquire 5 mysterious sources of near infinite power. The Infinity Well can't even determine what exactly they are, only speculate. Magus can also mask his actions using magic, and his doppelgangers are beings from another dimension he has altered. Mistress Death confronts the intruders, but Warlock teleports them away before they can be punished. The Well then offers to tell her Magus's true intentions. Mole Man informs Warlock that Mr. Fantastic has called a meeting with all the superheroes and they make their way to it. With Wolverine's acute sense of smell, he believes Mr. Fantastic and Iron Man are imposters. Reminds me of Secret Invasion. Daredevil comes to the same realization and attacks, Billy Club to the throat. Because no one really knows who is an imposter and who isn't, it becomes pandemonium, a damn free-for-all. Mr. Fantastic presses a button though and reveals a gamma bomb. It explodes, but Susan Storm is able to contain it, and Thor creates a whirlwind to get rid of the fallout and sends it into space. Before they can get any answers out of the phony Reed Richards and Iron Man, Magus and the evil doppelganger of Thanos arrive to portal them away. Obviously, Magus is successful in framing the real Thanos by doing this. The heroes of Earth already don't trust him, but even his heroic deeds of late won't help him much. Galactus and his crew, as well as Doom and Kang, are on their way to the source. But now the Infinity Watch is as well, and the heroes of Earth. All their paths are about to converge, it seems. Doom and Kang arrive, but it's only another energy breadcrumb on this giant trail. As they depart, the Infinity Watch appear. I want to stress that Magus has been watching all the events of this storyline unfold. He has been leading everyone on a path he has constructed, manipulated, and blanketed with his magic, whichever he deems necessary at any given time. Wanting to spice things up a bit and inject a little chaos, Magus has his army of evil doppelgangers attack Earth, while their numbers are reduced. Before Adam Warlock, Thanos, and the rest of the Infinity Watch can depart to the next destination, they are confronted by a group of Marvel heroes that have been sent to the source. Galactus and his crew arrive, activating a transport beam to end the fighting and hopefully get some useful information out of all of them. Dr. Doom and Kang are able to reach Magus's base of operations before anyone else can, hoping to access the power of the rectangular-shaped container for themselves. While Magus and the Thanos doppelganger are distracted by all the other pawns on the playing field, Doom and Kang figure out the source of all this power, 5 cosmic cubes from separate dimensions, set to explode if anyone tries to claim them. While Doom and Kang attempt to seize control of the command center, Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer want to temporarily leave Galactus so they can save their friends on Earth. However, Galactus just disrupts the energy broadcast Magus is sending to Earth, incapacitating the evil doppelgangers. That seemed easy. Galactus activates a powerful cerebral scan of all those aboard his ship, so they can see each other's memories and their perspectives merge. There is no more fighting, and everyone now understands each other. Adam Warlock wishes to fight fire with fire, and asks for each member of the Infinity Watch to give him their Infinity Gems, so he can recreate the Gauntlet. He even has the Reality Gem, which means that mysterious protector I told you about earlier must be somewhere in the vicinity. Warlock states that who it is doesn't matter. All that matters is that the heroes possess the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. The gems don't work though, due to the ruling of the Living Tribunal I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Galactus offers to address the Living Tribunal though, and have the ruling changed. He takes Gamora with him, feeling Warlock and especially Thanos would not help sway the decision. After they leave, Magus and evil Thanos use a portal to grab Warlock and obtain the currently useless Infinity Gauntlet. It's revealed that Magus has been planning to merge the Milky Way galaxy with a duplicate one he will have full control over, filled with evil doppelgangers. He has even entranced the people of Earth with magic, so the transition can happen much more smoothly. Thanos grabs the ultimate nullifier from Galactus' ship, described as the strongest weapon in the universe. Hopefully it can save this reality. To destroy the Magus with it, one would have to sacrifice themselves in the process, something he convinces Kazar to do. He walks away with a smug grin. Magus takes the Infinity Gauntlet from Warlock and reveals that he has orchestrated everything so its power could be returned. Kazar is sent through a portal by Thanos to stop Magus, but he hesitates when he gets there. Thanos, Captain America, Drax, and the rest of the Avengers decide to go in as well. The Living Tribunal refuses to change his decision, and states that because Eternity came to him with the Infinity Gem issue, he must be the one to make it now. Galactus bonds with Gamora in the hopes of using their combined powers to take Eternity out of his catatonic state. With Sneak 100, Doom and Kang attack Magus and are able to destroy the control console, keeping his base hidden, making it wide open for an attack by the ultimate nullifier. Magus flies towards the containment units to use their wish-granting powers. Doom double-crosses Kang. Magus finds that the cosmic cubes are missing and is attacked by Doom from behind. Having been temporarily knocked out, Adam Warlock awakens and flies towards the sound of fighting. Dr. Doom is able to down Warlock on top of severely injuring Magus. Doom demands that Magus hand over the Infinity Gauntlet, but before he can, Eternity is revived and grants the Infinity Gems their combined power back. The Magus is now in possession of a fully realized Infinity Gauntlet. His first action, have Khazar disappear from existence and place the ultimate nullifier within his own hands. Crucified, Adam Warlock is subjected to all the abilities of the Infinity Gems. Magus has adjusted to their power faster than Warlock and Thanos had before, and is relishing in his victory. The heroes go through a portal to confront Magus and are met with their doppelgangers. As they fight, they realize Thanos didn't follow. Instead, he changes the teleporter's coordinates to Magus's control room, where he comes face to face with his evil twin. Galactus and Gamora return and realize the mistake they have just made. Whoopsie! They all transport themselves to aid the other heroes in the fight against their doppelgangers, and Magus snaps his fingers, causing the evil versions of them to disappear. He then snaps his fingers again, and all of them are sucked into vortexes, becoming a part of Magus's new trophy room. What a collection! Thanos defeats his doppelganger and confronts Magus before he can finish off Warlock. Magus uses the power of the Infinity Gauntlet to force Thanos to bow before him. The Mad Titan is able to distract Magus long enough that Adam Warlock is able to break free and grab hold of the gauntlet. Both beings have a battle of wills, with the fate of the cosmos hanging in the balance. Warlock is able to release an immense burst of energy from the gauntlet, which creates a being that is half eternity and half infinity, the twin cosmic beings. They incapacitate Magus, and Adam Warlock is left in a catatonic state. Thanos reveals to the other members of the Infinity Watch that he and Warlock knew Magus couldn't resist the tempting Infinity Gems, so they made a replica of the Reality Gem. The one Magus had in the Infinity Gauntlet was a fake, but he was too drunk with power to notice, giving them a slight advantage. The protector of the Reality Gem is still a mystery. Who could it be? Eternity appears and declares that the restrictions on the Infinity Gems have been put back in place. They will not be removed in the future under any circumstances. Thanos departs a changed individual, far from what he once was, and for the better. Once a worshipper of death, now he considers himself one of the living. The Magus finds himself within Warlock's soul gem. He's trapped and vows to return with an army of psychics, but he notices that he phases through beings in that realm. He has become essentially nothing. He is less than nothing. Thanos returns to his farm and self-reflects. Is he a hero, villain, both, or neither? He feels the changes that are happening within him, and Gamora was right. This old dog can learn new tricks. He understands now that knowledge is true power. He contemplates that if he had the ultimate power once again, would he even want it? He even wonders who stole the cosmic cubes from Magus's hideout. Adam Warlock had expelled all the good and evil from himself. The evil was defeated, but what about the good? So there you have it, Infinity War. Where do I begin with this one? Well, for starters, I feel out of all the Infinity Saga storylines I have reviewed thus far, this one is the weakest. They seem to be dropping in quality as we go. With that said, it's far from bad. There are a lot of interesting ideas brought to the table with it, and its themes dive into the notion of good versus evil, as well as one's duality as a whole. Several times throughout the storyline, Thanos himself is haunted by his past. You can assume it's just the evil doppelganger watching him, or it could be the evil side of his psyche creeping in. Either or. Thanos' arc in this storyline is definitely one of its strengths. After spending time on his farm away from everyone else contemplating his life, past decisions, and purpose moving forward, he has a greater understanding of himself. He becomes a hero, or at the very least an anti-hero, who values more than just power. He wants to save this reality, and cares more for life than he ever has before. He's still a villain deep down, but he fights for the greater good when necessary, keeps his word, and remains loyal, for the most part. Much like the previous storyline Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War has issues related to its pacing. It's also longer and because of this has much more filler. However, this makes sense because the story, for the first half or 2/3 of it, involves the heroes following a trail of breadcrumbs. They're left confused and figuring everything out, much like we are as the audience. I feel not enough of these pieces click together until much later in the story though, leaving the first half or 2/3 feeling somewhat empty and hollow. I get that their quest is a fool's errand because Magus is manipulating everything from behind the scenes, but still, not enough notable stuff is really happening in the early parts of this story, and you're left somewhat unsatisfied as a result. And branching off of that, let's look at the villain himself, the Magus. I was not familiar with this character at all prior to reading Infinity War, but now I feel I have a greater understanding and respect for this character. With that said, I do still think he is a fairly weak antagonist, all things considered. He comes from an alternate future where he was worshipped as a god. He was stripped of that when he was stopped by Adam Warlock and Thanos, and his reality was erased from all existence by theirs. He views himself as a unique being, and wants revenge against Warlock and the Mad Titan for what they did to him. His final goal is to acquire the fully realized Infinity Gauntlet, and to merge two realities together. On the surface, all this stuff makes sense. I have nothing against it at all. What I do have a problem with is how overcomplicated his plan seems. He wants to confuse the heroes, muddle their pursuits with countless distractions, and cause chaos. The very nature of these things lack focus, which in turn make the entire storyline lack focus at parts, everything I just mentioned. Magus's scheme involves the use of magic and illusion, and not only is that left far too vague for too long, you don't really know what his plan is, but Magus's abilities are also left extremely vague. Apart from hiding his actions from everyone else, you don't really have a firm understanding of what it is he can actually do, and I think that can be a bit problematic at times. Magus stresses that he is better than Thanos. He doesn't share the same weaknesses as him and will succeed where he failed, but the thing is, he doesn't, at all. When he gets the gauntlet, he just fucks around with it, toying with Adam Warlock and not much else. Yeah, he stops all the heroes, and Thanos later explains that he was drunk with power and distracted by it, but that doesn't really matter, because his plan is so unnecessarily complicated, and he doesn't follow through with really anything he says. This character comes off as not only hypocritical, but incompetent. Villains can be stubborn, they're allowed to be, we all know this, but I hate it when they are made incompetent. It makes your heroes appear as such too, which is bad. Mind you, there are a few clever moments with Magus. I think when he inadvertently frames Thanos, that's an interesting idea, and yeah, blanketing his scheme from all the heroes and cosmic entities is badass. He manipulates them all, but his plan and motivations still seem too complicated when they didn't need to be. I don't know, this storyline gets kind of muddled, but then again, that was the very nature of Magus's plan in the first place. It was probably intentional by the writers, but I think the story as a whole suffers because of it. Infinity War ended with Adam Warlock's evil side, the Magus, defeated and trapped within the Soul Gem. Warlock was now in a coma, and Thanos questioned if the 5 cosmic cubes from separate realities were stolen from Magus's hideout, right under their noses, by Warlock's good side, created when Warlock was in possession of the Infinity Gauntlet and expelled all the good and evil from himself in order to obtain pure logic and neutrality. Today, I'll be looking at and reviewing the final installment in the original Infinity Saga from the 1990s, Infinity Crusade. Much like the other videos in this series, I'll need to explain a few things before we can dive into the main storyline. However, there isn't a whole lot because it more or less continues where Infinity War left off. Basically, in Warlock and the Infinity Watch number 15, Eternity enters Adam Warlock's psyche to take him out of his coma. Warlock feels partly responsible for creating Magus and threatening the universe. He no longer wants to play the part of the hero, and would rather someone else do it. He has carried that burden for far too long. Warlock believes his soul is too weak, and Eternity makes him realize that every aspect of him, however good or evil, is part of him, and important. They are vital in making him whole, complete. Warlock fights the elements that make up his own consciousness, and then comes to that same realization. Eternity tells Warlock that all of reality will need him soon. He gives him a mysterious orb, shows him vague visions of the future, and he wakes up. Infinity Crusade starts with an emotionally distant Adam Warlock leaving the Infinity Watch as they train, hoping to find a solution to the problem looming on the horizon. He meditates using the orb given to him by Eternity, and its empty void looks tempting to him. The artifact is called the Eternal Orb, and can be used as a way for Warlock to contact Eternity during universal emergencies. They both sense a cosmic disturbance, but Eternity explains that it is one that doesn't threaten him, but possibly Warlock. Only Warlock himself can know for sure. As Eternity departs, Adam Warlock is confronted by a strange being known as the Goddess. He comes to the realization of who she is, his good side which opposes his evil side, the Magus. She fires an energy blast at Warlock and seemingly incapacitates him. On Earth, several religious symbols flash in the sky before mysteriously vanishing. The Goddess has been busy collecting even more cosmic cubes from various realities. She absorbs their power and transforms herself. Adam Warlock is left floating in limbo, within the depths of reality, but a mysterious purple hand reaches out for him. The Goddess appears before many Earthlings and superheroes. Only those that believe can see her, and she explains to the ones that can that she has come to them with a loving heart, to end all the pain and suffering. Invisible Woman of the Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Spider-Man, they are but some of the people confronted by her. She targets those that are religious, spiritual, have strong moral character, and are willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. The Goddess intends to eliminate all evil from the universe, complete galactic salvation. Using her divine influence and brainwashing, all the heroes she spoke with proclaim to the heavens that they are eternally devoted to her. All her chosen ones go through portals to meet their savior. The remaining heroes gather to figure out what in blazes is going on. Vision explains that he theorizes those that are religious have been kidnapped, or a better word for it would be selected. Some that still remain believe in God, but their feelings might not be as strong as the others. Only the best of the best were chosen. What God did in 7 days, the Goddess manages to do in 7 seconds. She forms a planet, provides it with life, generates weather systems, and creates paradise. She places all her chosen ones on it to live freely, away from evil. The Goddess creates a massive cathedral so those on her planet may worship, and refers to this place as Paradise Omega. Inside, she gives her followers the most advanced forms of communication equipment so they can spread the good word. The Infinity Watch and their new member Maxim arrive on Earth to aid the heroes. They pick up readings indicating an entire planet, emitting energy signatures of the cosmic cubes. The criminals of Earth have also been affected by this mysterious being, who is attempting to rid them all of evil. Wars are stopped, peace is attained. Back on Paradise Omega, the Goddess reveals the Cosmic Egg, created from 30 cosmic cubes, that will help them influence the universe and grant spiritual desires. Her followers fear the Infinity Gems, but the Goddess reiterates that the Living Tribunal has made it so they cannot be used together ever again. When fueled by their group soul, the Cosmic Egg is in fact stronger than the Infinity Gems in this reality. As the Goddess meditates to spread the gospel, she asks that her followers defend her temporal form. She will still be with them, using the body of Moondragon as a vessel. Aurora, of Alpha Flight, begins to be persuaded by the Goddess due to her other, more religious personality. The heroes use this to their advantage, allowing her to take the Quinjet to the planet, while Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, and Vision tag along. They reach it and realize it's no moon, but a planet with a defense system. They arrive at the cathedral and are prepared for what awaits them. The Goddess and her army confront the heroes. Reed questions her motives and explains that she is manipulating her followers. His energy scans prove it, though they deny the truth. They offer their services to her, but the Goddess senses their trickery and proclaims no one shall set foot on this holy ground unless they are pure of heart. She then attacks them, and they find themselves back on the Quinjet, minus Aurora, of course. Their databanks have been wiped, and they are outside Earth's orbit. While that was going on, the heroes on Earth debated over whether or not they should treat the Goddess as a villain. Maybe what she is doing is right and true. Professor X says they might not have a right to judge her, but they cannot allow this second coming to dawn unless they know what's on the other side of that sunrise. Mr. Fantastic takes Iron Man and Vision to Earth's moon, where they meet the Watcher. Goddess returns to her meditation and begins influencing planets, star systems, the entire universe, and then countless realities. The Watcher explains all this to Mr. Fantastic, Iron Man, and Vision. She is eliminating all evil and conflict throughout existence. They ask the Watcher if she should be stopped, if they should stop her, and if her intentions are good or evil. It's not his place to say, and he refuses to continue this conversation, and beams them back to Avengers headquarters. The heroes figure out a course of action and decide amongst themselves if the goddess is in fact an enemy. Just because she acts off good intentions does not mean what she is doing is right for the universe. Back at Monster Island, the home base of the Infinity Watch, their leader has escaped the confines the goddess had placed him in. He makes contact with a large ship looming in the sky and teleports himself to it. It's Thanos' starcraft, and the two plan on teaming up once again to save the universe. However, they are interrupted by somebody, Mephisto, in a grotesque form. He wants to aid them in stopping the goddess because, after all, the universe needs both good and evil to function, something I mentioned in my review of Infinity War. The heroes of Earth end their debate and must come to a decision. Before they can make it, though, Professor X intends to contact Moondragon telepathically on Paradise Omega and state for the record they are all considering siding with the goddess. She believes he is trying to thwart her plans, though, and telepathically harms him. With Xavier incapacitated, the heroes unite to stop the goddess. Adam Warlock contacts Pip the Troll, and they both get up to speed on the situation. The heroes plan on using a harmonic disruptor to disable the goddess's cosmic cubes. However, her followers are watching them closely, and the goddess alters their harmonic frequency, making the device useless. The heroes board multiple Quinjets and take off for battle. Goddess's followers decide to mount an offense, bombing Manhattan and disabling as many communication systems as they can in response. Moondragon calls for Silver Surfer to return to base to help defend it. He disagrees, though, being called a blasphemer, and is attacked as punishment. However, her ability is no match for his, and he breaks the goddess's control over him. While Professor X was making contact with Moondragon, Pip touched his arm and was able to hone in on Moondragon's location telepathically. He decides to be the hero, so those who laughed at him would fear and respect him. He teleports himself to the goddess's location, and using the wish-granting powers of the cosmic egg, turns her to salt and declares himself king of the universe. Thanos teleports Silver Surfer to his ship. He is now in possession of Adam Warlock's soul gem. Pip the Troll may have temporarily incapacitated the goddess, but it was in vain. Her power was too great and was resurrected, further reinforcing her Christ-like similarity. If you were curious, the events taking place after Pip became king and before the goddess was revived were shown in Warlock in the Infinity Watch number 18, but honestly, it's insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It was really just a silly side story, completely supplemental. Thanos acquired the Soul Gem because Adam Warlock needed to transport his spirit to the Soul World and find someone. Thanos and Silver Surfer contact the heroes of Earth that are on their way to Paradise Omega and will back them in their battle. Needing Professor X for a diversion, Thanos steals him from Avengers headquarters and places a special headset on him so he can tap into the psychic's powers. The Mad Titan gets Silver Surfer to begin absorbing the energy from the solar system star, Sol. Now reaching legendary Super Saiyan levels, he rockets off with immense speed. With a little help from Drax the Destroyer and the Hulk, Silver Surfer is used as a pinball, targeted right at Paradise Omega. The goddess's followers pray that she can help them, but with universal rapture so close, she must use all her power to obtain it. They're on their own. The Surfer misses the planet, but hits a nearby moon which explodes, and causes a hull breach, or I guess, hull breach? Thor, a member of Goddess's Chosen, throws his mighty hammer into the hero's Quinjets, causing a hull breach. There we go, that's right. The heroes still make it to the planet's surface via escape pods. Adam Warlock reaches the one he seeks the aid of in Soul World. It's his evil, darker side, the Magus. Thanos watches over the planet, preparing for his next move, knowing the endgame is about to begin. The invasion force of Earth's heroes do battle with the goddess's brainwashed followers. Thanos transports Adam Warlock from Soul World to the planet's surface using the power of the Soul Gem. The heroes fight valiantly, but their numbers are greatly reduced, and the goddess is nearing universal rapture. Thankfully, Thanos locks into Gamora with his dreadnought ship and begins to fire. The blast hits the planet, but it survives thanks to a force field. Thanos realizes that retaliation is imminent and teleports himself and the Professor off the ship before it explodes. He takes them to the Cosmic Egg, and despite Xavier being in a catatonic state, he will play a significant role. Thanos begins wearing down the goddess's defenses within the egg, but it seems to have no effect. Everything is happening too fast, and the universe is almost within her grasp. The immense energy broadcast emitted by her powers disturbs the solar system's star's soul, and it goes supernova. It begins consuming nearby planets like Mercury and Venus on its way to Paradise Omega. Any being caught in the blast is purified by the Inferno, charred to a crisp. Who wants barbecue? No one escapes their judgment, and the goddess is the only one remaining. The rapture even reaches Earth, before spreading across the entire universe. The end is here, and the goddess is victorious. Her holy mission has only just begun, though. The next phase is to cleanse all other realities, too. Or so she thought. This widespread Armageddon was false. Adam Warlock reveals himself and explains that he created this illusion within the goddess's subconscious, seeing as they are both a part of each other. With the universe realizing her suicidal intent, they refuse her will, and the collective soul energy of the cosmic egg is diminished. The goddess's power, fueled by the cosmic cubes, can affect the soul of Adam Warlock, so she leaves her physical body in order to fight him. Warlock and Goddess battle on a spiritual energy plane, but Warlock is aided by the soul projections of Thanos and Professor X, who were linked with that special headset and the power of the Soul Gem. Feeling threatened, she desperately returns to her physical body to turn the tide, but Warlock has taken control of the cosmic egg and latches onto her, allowing Thanos to deliver the finishing blow. The Soul Gem is returned to Adam Warlock, and his spirit is revived within his body. Thanos sets the cosmic egg to explode and destroy Paradise Omega. All the heroes teleport off the planet to safety. Goddess finds herself in the same predicament Magus was, meeting him face to face in Soul World. He explains that they are both only part of souls and are phantoms to those that live there. It's revealed that Thanos kept one of the cosmic cubes, the last one, and has remained honorable, keeping his part of the deal with Mephisto. Mephisto attempts to destroy Thanos with it, but the Mad Titan reveals that the cosmic cube, though real, does not function. Even the devil himself should beware when bargaining with Thanos. So that concludes my look at the entire Infinity Saga. As a whole, I consider them to be some of the best crossovers ever produced by Marvel Comics. Thanos Quest is the best written and focused in my opinion. It is, after all, the shortest. The Infinity Gauntlet is the best from an action and spectacle standpoint, and Infinity Crusade has the most to say with its themes. Infinity War is the weakest I reviewed, but I want to stress that despite all the negatives I've given to each of these storylines, they're nitpicks, and I enjoy all four and would recommend anyone read them. They aren't perfect, but then again, nothing really is. I enjoyed Infinity Crusade. It's a great story. Though it falls short of the epic grandeur that is the Infinity Gauntlet, I did find it more interesting than Infinity War. Its themes are more provocative, and while I myself am not religious or believe in any form of God, I did find its analysis of religion and its existence of one to be interesting. It takes every side imaginable on these topics. There are many references to religion, with the use of words like repent, sacrificial lambs, sins and damnation, heaven, new Genesis, holy wars, missions and crusades, and plenty more, I assure you. Some characters deny the existence of God due to the death of loved ones like in Ben Grimm's case. Some mention that if God were indeed all-powerful, why does he need followers to accomplish what he seeks? Couldn't he just do it himself? Johnny Storm feels upset that he wasn't one of the goddesses chosen in a way. He feels that because he doesn't believe in God, or doesn't believe in him as strongly, that makes him inferior, like there is something wrong with him. Even questioning stopping the goddess is a compelling notion, because after all, she is eliminating evil. Maybe that's a good thing in the end. But here's the thing, the concept of good and evil are more or less subjective. As humans, we have put laws in place that keep us on the straight and narrow, but realize what is good and what is bad is something taught and understood. They are ideas we have created and nothing more. Does that justify doing something we view as bad from a moral perspective? Absolutely not. But realize without laws, without these factors put in place, there would be no good or evil, no concept of it. The universe may need the forces of good and evil to function, like this comic suggests, but what the goddess seeks is unattainable. She is basing her judgments off the beliefs of the human race. Across the galaxy, if there was other life, their perception of good and evil would be vastly different from our own. In turn, this makes her judgment biased and completely inconsistent, but then again, a lot of religion is. With that said, taking into account this story is fictitious and I can suspend my disbelief, I'm not going to dive that far into it, I find the goddess to be a great antagonist, an improvement over the Magus from the previous storyline. Characters like this that seek to influence and control through religion are always great villains. Look at Reverend Stryker from God Loves, Man Kills, or Deacon Blackfire from The Cult. They take a much more visceral approach, attacking and exploiting one spirituality. The goddess shares many similarities to not only Jesus Christ, but visually, I feel she takes inspiration from historical figures such as Joan of Arc. The goddess is on a holy mission, believing to be serving some higher power. The destruction of the universe when everything is burned by the Inferno symbolizes a form of Armageddon or Doomsday. It's referred to as the Rapture, and to many Christian believers, this type of event signifies the end of days. After the goddess is defeated and the Inferno is revealed as an illusion, many beings across the galaxy accept it as mere fantasy, or a near-death experience which to some people, in real life, reinforces their belief in God and heaven. Infinity Crusade isn't without its faults. Mainly, if you aren't religious or don't find religion itself very interesting, you might find this kind of story annoying at times. It doesn't let up with it when it comes to its symbolism. There are pacing issues much like Infinity War, but they aren't as prominent, and there is far less filler in my opinion. What do you guys think of Infinity Crusade? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified of future content, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.